I'm Minister Irvin Mahoney of the Parkview Christian Life Center in Haines City, Florida, where Pastor Ray Bailey is my pastor. I wasn't one of those guys, but I have a testimony that these guys in the early 1990s, they changed my life, and they changed my life forever. And they took me to jail, and they talked to me, and they told me things about my life that I wasn't doing right. Officer Riley carried me to jail. He knew my family. Officer Riley knew the Malsby family. My uncle is the big city commissioner in Lake Alfred. But Officer Riley carried me to jail in 1990. He went by McDonald's on 6th Street, Grady, and he bought 2 Big Mike hamburgers and French fries. Y'all know Officer Riley. And I was handcuffed in the back. I said, well, maybe Officer Riley gonna feed me a little bit before I get to the jail and get locked up. But Officer Riley stopped beside the road before he transported me. And he ate both of those hamburgers and all those French fries, and he didn't give me a drink of the Coke. And that right there was one thing, but then when I went in the courtroom, Miss Frazier was in the courtroom, and she said, you come from one of the best families in Florida, why are you doing what you're doing? So that began to, while I was in Orange and stuff in the early 1990s, changed my life. And now I have an organization that I mentor with in Detroit, but we're gonna bring that organization to Florida, and I wanna be deputized here in Polk County, like I've been deputized in Michigan. We got an organization in Michigan called Come Out, Stay Out. Bishop T.D. Holden, and we got the sheriff up there, Chris Swanson, in Flint, Michigan, who are partnering with the jails. We had Jelly Roll, we got guys who have ex-offenders who have made mistakes in life, and now they are their husbands, they've got families, their grandfathers, and they living a different life. And there was an old saying that says, if you can't beat them, join them. I got a job with Polk County some 15, 16 years ago, and nobody would hire me but the landfill. But Mr. Palmbach, Larry Palmbach hired me. Kim Byers was assistant director at the landfill before Ms. Anna Woods came in, but they gave me an opportunity. And I saw then that I had a chance. And then, Mr. Grady, I began to work for worked for the guys that was on probation. And they sent me one day to pick up 13 guys from the jailhouse one Saturday. And I realized that I have a rose, that I'm not the same gangbanger, I'm not the same cocaine addict that I used to be before 1990 because of these men arrested me and because of Officer Riley eating those 2 Big Mike burgers in front of me and carried me to jail, and I was hungry. But it changed my life, and now I have a book out that's called I Left the Jailhouse on My Way to the Crack House, but I stopped by the church house. I partnered with Michigan, but I want to partner with Polk County right here. I'm a minister. I'm preaching funerals of young men going out, coming back from jail and prison, getting on fentanyl, and they're dead. And we got organizations in Detroit, whereas we got Arcans and we got things that we're trying to make a difference in Saginaw, Lansing, and Detroit, Michigan. But I live here in Polk County. My main objective, Mr. Grady, I'm going to join forces with you. The church is going to join forces with you, and we're going to stop this gun violence. We're going to stop this stuff that's going on in this great community, Polk County.
Thank you, Minister, and that's one. Okay, we need something lighter for a minute. So, you know, there are times in this job and career that you know it has to be true because you can't even make it up. So let me introduce you to Martin Gonzalez Garcia. This guy is not scheduled to be able to complete college as a Rhodes Scholar. All right? This guy may be like the dumbest person on the face of the earth. I mean, I'm just guessing. Thinking out loud, you know. But on the 29th of December, at about 1:10 in the morning, we get an alarm at a Dollar General out in Poinciana, and we respond to the alarm and find there's been a burglary and a theft. So we start the investigation, and we have some video of the guy who breaks into the store. Well, the manager looks at this video and goes, well, I recognize that guy. I talked to him about a cell phone. He wanted a cell phone. Interestingly enough, there's a cell phone stolen from the burglary. And not only that, he asked about employment. I gave him an application. Well, not only that, I got his phone number. Did you hear that? Did you hear what I said? I didn't stutter. We had his phone number, and the deputy who's investigating it go, yeah, I recognize that guy from the neighborhood. So we look for him all through the night, and the night shift goes home. They come back to work that night. Now look, I know, look, y'all look at me. I'm not drinking, okay? I'm not on intoxicating drugs. At 18:55 hours at night, we get a 911 hang-up. A 911 call. Did you hear that? A 911 call. I'm sober as most judges right now. We get a 911 call. Our deputies respond to Cardinal Street in Poinciana to a vacant house with a for sale sign in the yard. So we're checking the house. That's where the 911 call came from. The sliding glass door is open. So we go in and we check it out, and voila, there's Martin along with his girlfriend, Alicia Ocaso. She's 22. That's right, they're in the house. So we go in and we, of course, take them into custody. Martin confesses to both of the burglaries. Ashlis, she confesses to her burglary that they're in the house. And here's what she said. I swear she said this. It's hard for me to even get this out. She dialed 911 to have a deputy come there to help them move their belongings and take them to the airport so that they could fly back to New York. That they don't like it in Florida anymore. Did you hear? Did you hear that? Did you hear that she dialed 911 from inside the house that they'd broken into so we could help them pack up and give them a ride to the airport so they could return to New York? You have to be from New York to do something like that. Or you could have been from Baltimore because he used to be there. Or he has an outstanding warrant in Cleveland, Ohio. You could be from Cleveland. But for some reason, I don't think, even as inclined as Baltimore and New York is to not enforce the law, that you would think it's okay to commit a burglary and dial 911 to catch a ride out of the place. That's right. They didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Well, there is something wrong with it. You know, in New York, they're not going to hold you responsible for a minor burglary like that with nothing stolen out of the house. You know, they're going to let you go or have no jail bail, or I don't know what their deal is up there, but newsflash, they weren't in New York, they weren't in Baltimore, they weren't in Cleveland, they were in Polk County, Florida. And in Polk County, Florida, we lock you up. New phone, new cell phone, girlfriend, we took all of that stuff, and we gave them a ride. It wasn't to the airport, it was to the county jail. But given the circumstances in New York City, hey, maybe the county jail in Polk County is better than New York City. It's certainly safer than New York City. So I have seen some craziness in my life, but if this is the beginning of 2023, we've got a lot of craziness to see this year. But I don't know of anyone who's ever said, hey, I'm in the middle of a burglary here, but I'd like a ride to New York. Can you take me to the airport? She said that. We thought she was kidding. She wasn't. Now, you can go ahead and ask any questions you want, but I don't know how to make sense out of that. I guess you say, well, what do you think, honey? Well, we're not in New York anymore. Give me a kiss goodbye, because we're not going to get to stay in the same jail cell in Polk County. It's crazy. It's crazy. Y'all have a good day. Help us catch these bad guys that are shooting up innocent children.
Are there any like descriptions of cars or anything?
Not yet. We have some information, but we haven't focused it down. I mean, we're doing the normal. This is a shoe leather type of investigation, so we will release other information as we can focus down. But we think we'll create more distractions for ourselves and the community at this early stage to be releasing stuff. Okay. Next time you go to the Dollar General and pick up an application and leave your phone number to go to work, don't come back and do the burglary in the middle of the night. See y'all later.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being with me today. I have with me Chief Andy Ray from the Auburndale Police Department and Derek Blanton from the Winter Haven Police Department. You know, we did this recent Operation Child Protector 2, and as I always say when we do these operations, the strength of our investigations simply is our partnership with the police departments. We all work together to keep this community safe. We understand that criminals don't come and go according to city limits and county limits, and neither does support services from the sheriff's office and the police departments. We are all one, and this is just another example. So we did a 2-week operation, just the recent of what we've done over and over and over, to focus on those that are online seeking your children. If it weren't for the heroic work of the undercover detectives from the Sheriff's Office, the Winter Haven Police Department, the Auburndale Police Department, your children could have been the victims. But they weren't, because we stood in the gap between good and evil. We made 12 arrests. They were not only from Central Florida, but you'll hear me talk about one that occurred in an arrest that occurred out of Alabama and one out of Michigan. That's right, they were grooming and doing real nasty things online all across this neighborhood, this community, this county, this state, and as far away on this operation as Michigan and Alabama. We say that we'll chase those child predators to the ends of the earth that want to harm our children. We've done that. You've heard me talk about us arresting a person in Australia and bringing them back here for trial. Well, we only had 2 from out of state this time. But here's what is important to understand, and I want the parents to understand this. These aren't traditional criminals. 9 of the 12 of these folks don't have a criminal history. Did you hear what I said? 9 of the 12 don't have a criminal history. But what they are doing, these evil people, are lurking online and grooming children online to engage them in sexual conduct. 4 of the arrests traveled. The others, as you'll hear in a minute, provided very raucous communication, sent pictures, inappropriate pictures, nude pictures, action photos of sexual conduct to what they thought was 13, 14, 15-year-old little girls or little boys. So let me introduce you to some of them. This is Lawrence New. He lives on the Lakeland Highlands Road in Lakeland. He thought that he was traveling to have sex with a 13-year-old child. That's right. He came from South Lakeland to our undercover location at the far northeast end of the county, thinking that he was going to have sex. He said he cherished the idea about teaching this 13-year-old girl about sex. He sent nudes and action film of him doing inappropriate things. His wife of 7 years was in another room sleeping whenever he did this. Oh, I'm sorry, she was in another room when he did this, and he had to wait for her to go to sleep so he could sneak out of the house to engage what he thought was a 13-year-old child. So let me focus on this a minute. He's in one room, his wife's in another room, he's sending all kinds of ugly things to what he thinks is a 13-year-old child. Then he leaves after she falls asleep and travels all the way across the county. He confessed. We've got him locked up in jail. He's the owner of Omnia Inc., which deals in disposing medical supplies, used medical supplies. Oh, did I tell you Citrus County Sheriff's Office also has a criminal charge waiting against him as well? But we've got him locked up here now. So this is not new for him. He's 67 years old, and he's a deviant. He's a child pedophile. He's a pervert. And now he's a jailbird. Then there's Christopher Valise. He's 33. He's from Tampa. He sent explicit photos thinking he was sending them to a 14-year-old child. And he told her, I don't want to get in trouble, so let's keep this between us. Where does he work? He doesn't work. You see, he's at home on disability and SSI. That's right. So while all of us are going to work, earning money, paying our taxes, he's getting our taxpayers' money to sit at home and groom little children online. He didn't travel, but he instructed what he thought was the little 14-year-old girl to destroy the messages and the pictures because I don't want to get in trouble. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, what would an operation be? Either a pornography investigation or a predator operation or a human trafficking operation.
In weight, and which have curious features which have been interpreted variously as Polynesian, African, don't look like classic Native American features.
Royalty with features different than the civilization they ruled isn't uncommon either. Take a look at these depictions of Pharaoh Akhenaten, which have caused numerous conspiracy theories over the years, from extraterrestrial to the more mundane. But Hancock goes on to say that he actually has an explanation for this.
But one of the things I've realized is that there is no classic Native American feature. That Native Americans are have a very complex genetic story with very many different elements brought into it, and we shouldn't be necessarily surprised by the supposedly non-Native American look of these Olmec heads.
What do we think those helmets were that they were wearing?
nobody knows, because no physical example of such a helmet has ever been found, just like no physical example of an Egyptian pharaoh's a crown has ever been found. All we see is the stone reproductions of them.
You would expect to find many such examples of these helmets, seeing as they should have been constructed of materials that weren't easily destroyable. But Hancock claims that even though these helmets were depicted on almost every sculpture, none have been found. He then says this.
There's another fascinating figure from La Venta, one of the Olmec sites, which is the earliest ever image of a plumed or feathered serpent. The feathered serpent is a famous icon in Central America. Quetzalcoatl, who's the god of peace, the bringer of civilization, who is associated, for example, with the famous pyramid of Kukulkan, which is just another name for Quetzalcoatl at Chichen Itza, where on the spring equinox a shadow effect creates the image of a serpent coiling down the stairway and joining with the carved head of the serpent. There's the image from La Venta. That's the earliest image of a plumed serpent in the America.
The plumed serpent, or Quetzalcoatl, was a famous Mesoamerican god, but that's not what is most fascinating about this depiction of the serpent. Check this out, and pay careful attention to the bag the man is holding in the depiction. The name, Quetzalcoatl, means either feathered serpent or precious twin, and he was the center of many Mesoamerican legends that all involved him as both the god and the semi-divine ruler, depending on the myth, and traversed multiple cultures. Here, Hancock brings up something mind-blowing and actually ties this all back to Göbekli Tepe.
And sitting in the middle of it, and I made a big deal out of this because I think it is a big deal in Magicians of the Gods, sitting in the middle of it is this human figure who's holding this strange bag in his hand. And it's just a fact that those identical bags are found in ancient Sumer in the hands of individuals who were considered to be civilization bringers, and they also show up on Pillar 43 at Göbekli Tepe.
So what does this mean? Well, Göbekli Tepe is over 11,000 years old and yet is located in another area of the world entirely, Turkey.
And in that case, at Göbekli Tepe, we know they're at least 11,600 years old. So I wonder if we're looking at a sort of badge of office of a group of civilizers who traveled around the world trying to bring back to life a lost civilization and pass down. I deploy a concept in this book that I actually got from Richard Dawkins.
Hancock reveals that he's not a fan of Richard Dawkins, but goes on to say that this all ties back into the concept of the meme, which is an idea, behavior, or concept that has the ability to replicate itself throughout future generations. He then says this.
Memes are cultural objects, cultural ideas that are passed on and replicate and reproduce themselves. And what I see right across the Americas and right across the old world as well is a set of memes that involve the sky, that involve the ground, that involve geometry, that involve notions of life after death. And I think the only way to explain these is that they have been inherited from an earlier culture that was in some way connected with the ancestors of all of these cultures. I think that's what we're looking at in the Amazon. We're looking at a meme which was deliberately created. Once you mobilize a population to start creating huge geometrical structures, you are also facilitating many other possibilities that an organized population allows.
If this is the case, it all ties back into those bags as either symbols of the civilizers or some tool or knowledge they use to spread their civilization and culture. Of course, it's impossible to know for sure what these bags mean when the only access to them we have is through ancient depictions. When Rogan asks if there's any mainstream interpretation of the bags, Hancock admits that there isn't and says this.
There is no mainstream interpretation of those bags. That's my interpretation of those bags, which I freely confess. That's how I read them. I'm intrigued by the anomaly that the similar bag and turns up in the hands of the Quetzalcoatl figure and turns up in Mesopotamia repeatedly in the hands of the individuals who are called the Apkallu, the magicians of the gods, the bringers of civilization.
And the plumed serpent, Quetzalcoatl, it's an Aztec god, right? And
Quetzalcoatl is an Aztec god, but the Aztecs acquired him from earlier cultures. The very fact that an image of the plumed serpent is given such priority in Olmec culture tells us that that system of ideas was present during Olmec times, which takes us back at least to 1500 BC.
Just look at this. This carving was one of the earliest depictions of the serpents and existed during the earliest surviving records of the Olmec culture. These intricate carvings continued on throughout multiple civilizations, establishing itself as the Quetzalcoatl figure and legend during the time of the Aztec. Hancock even ties this figurine to the Mayans, who had a name for the feathered serpent as well, and connects it all to the civilization builder theory.
And the Mayans had a name for it as well?
Kukulkan.
And what do you think that plumed serpent was?
I think it's very associated with two things in particular. One of them, he's a god of peace. He's not a war god. And the other thing that he's primarily about is giving the gifts of civilization.
Up next is a hilarious change of pace, with comedian Stavros Holkaias discussing the harsh life for peasants and the insanity of Greek mythology. This is a conversation from episode 1909.
Ancient Greece.
The
fucking
Greeks?
rules. Yeah.
Come on, son. You
Yeah.
come from one of the most important
Yeah.
histories in all of the human race.
No, it's the best.
They
Yeah.
did some wild shit in your country.
Truly. No, it's fucking awesome. But you think about, and I'm also fascinated by medieval times, and you just think about
Yeah.
like, all the history that we learn is about like, oh, this king fucked this king up, and this.
Yeah.
But it's like, and they always just kind of gloss over like, and you know, the army raided the countryside, and it's like, imagine being the fucking assholes on the countryside outside of the city. You're outside of Athens, you're outside of Troy, whatever. You just get fucked like every 10 years.
Historically, it was very common for kings and nobles to use resources from the countryside, usually either ignoring or killing the peasants who lived there. But it gets funnier when Halkias says this.
When some asshole, some rich asshole, some guy with running water, he gets to decides he wants to fuck up your town. He just comes through, steals your shit, takes your fucking wife, kills your son, and you just have to like, now you fucking get turnips for him. or he kills you too. It's just like, I think about how fucked up it would have been to just be a peasant
And
that's
you become
caught
a
in
slave.
between this shit.
This is why historically there were many notable peasant revolutions against royalty. There were similar uprisings during the times of Troy, but these were usually suppressed quickly. Stavros and Rogan then talk about the Greek gods and how messed up they were.
Horrible. There was no like heroes. There was no unrealistic modern Marvel movie heroes.
Yeah.
Everyone.
First up, Joe Rogan and Graham Hancock discuss the ancient pyramids in China that have not been excavated yet and the insane scale of the Terracotta Army. This is a conversation from episode 872 with Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson.
There's some pyramid-like structures or hills in China as well, right?
There's thousands of pyramids in China. Xi'an, the province of Xi'an, is just the moment you land there of your aircraft, you're seeing pyramids everywhere. I've been there. There are certainly hundreds and hundreds of them, distributed across fields, vanishing off into the distance in all directions. They've been terraced and used as agriculture. The local farmers grow crops on them.
Check this picture out showing one of the lost Chinese pyramids. Notice anything strange, like how it looks more like a hill? Hancock goes on to say that Chinese archaeologists haven't excavated a single pyramid and explains why.
But they said then they didn't have the money. They said, we're an old country. We don't mind if we wait 200 years to get to grips with this.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And the famous tomb of the first emperor is part of this pattern. It is also a pyramid. It has also not been excavated. The terracotta army around it has been found.
The Terracotta Army is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
This is the Terracotta Army, countless of terracotta soldiers built to protect an ancient tomb. These no doubt took ages to build, and Rogan goes on to ask Hancock for some details about why the army was actually created.
Now, these pyramids, so this one that this emperor was buried in that had the Terracotta Army, was that a pyramid as well?
It is a pyramid.
It is.
Absolutely. It's a man-made pyramid. The terracotta army was buried around its edges, not in the pyramid itself.
So the army was there to protect him?
Yeah, to protect his soul into the afterlife seems to have been the idea. And then there's a mythology that's come down that within the pyramid is a lake of mercury, that there are mechanical devices in there which will fire arrows at you if you go in. That there's a whole story about how intensely protected it is, and up to this day it's not been excavated.
That's so crazy. How could someone leave that alone?
Hancock is spot on here. To this day, the central tomb of the pyramid hasn't been excavated, largely due to high concentrations of mercury in the area, which the ancient Chinese used to protect their tomb. Rogan and Hancock then discuss exactly how the pyramid was built, constructed using rammed earth.
Yeah.
There's thousands of these terracotta figures.
Absolutely.
And this pyramid was made out of what? Was it stones?
Rammed earth mainly.
Okay. So they just sort of shaped the ground. They just dug around
Yeah,
it.
they brought in earth and turned it into a pyramidal mound over the
But
top.
it wasn't.
It's
So
not,
it's just.
it's not
stacked
massive
on
stone
top.
blocks. It's not massive stone. That's why they can grow crops on the sides of some of these pyramids.
Wow, how weird.
Yeah.
So they would build these giant mounds of dirt and then dig holes in them and support them. And like,
Well, they
what would
probably
do on the
they
inside of
probably
it?
created the interior, subterranean as they were building the whole thing over it. Yeah.
And then just stack dirt on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, what a weird way to make a house.
Take a look at this example of how rammed earth is created. While it might not be as impressive as the feat of engineering required to build the pyramids in Egypt,
plywood form of made of most of the mix. पैक अच्छा है पैकिंग हो रही है
earth is created. While it might not be as impressive as the feat of engineering required to build the pyramids in Egypt, this still required immense planning, knowledge, and time.
Those Chinese pyramids are still blowing my mind.
They blow my mind as well.
I just
It's-
can't believe they haven't been excavated.
It's an eerie, spooky scene. I mean, I recommend anybody to go to Xi'an and just it's incredible how many of them there are, and how unexplained it all is. And it's like, again, it feeds into my general point: is we don't remember our past.
Up next, Joe Rogan.
It's a vast pottery army which is slowly being unearthed from the tomb where it's lain for more than 2,000 years. At one time, when a Chinese ruler died,
for decades, for many years, for decades. Yeah. So these warriors are all life-sized, like real soldiers. Also, they have different facial features. You can tell from their hairstyle, their we call headgears, and they can tell their different ranks. The terracotta warriors was found accidentally. One day, a group of farmers digging well here, and they find some pieces of the pottery. They also find the head of the terracotta warriors, and the team, archaeological team, came to this area and they start to dig. Originally in ancient China, like 3,000 years ago, they believed the afterlife. When the elites died, like king or noble people, they died, and they normally buried their servants with them, so the human sacrifice, and people start criticize the human sacrifice. So they think probably use the terracotta figures as a substitute. When we discovered in pit 3, very surprisingly we find well-preserved colors. When we lift one terracotta warrior, terracotta bodies, so the very bright colors stick on the soil, very bright, red and pink, blue, green. The other colors are natural, like natural, probably mineral or come from some plants, but the purple is chemical from chemical reaction, so that kind of artificial. So these kind of chemical reaction, so only find in China. That's really revolutionary, that kind of technology in 2,000 years ago in Qin time. That was really fascinating part of my archaeological career. I feel I'm lucky. Also, I feel I have a responsibility. That's unique in China and also unique in the world. Even now I walk in, I still feel very impressed.
Oh.
ना लौड़े पीछे भाग गया बेंचो
फाड़ू भोसड़ी के
होल्ड करो पीछे लो
कैसा है रे?
अरे यार ये कहां से आ गया कल साला
साइड पे
और बीएसएनएल लावरी उतरो।
अरे क्या करता है कल बोतल के ऊपर नीचे
बैक स्टेप पूरा
क्या ऊपर नीचे?
बैक स्टेप हो रहा है
बैकस्टैब
एंड कफ कोविड
आई रोली एक काम कर, 2 प्याज ले, थोड़ा गुड़ ले, मिक्सी में डाल, छान के पी जा।
और पिछवाड़े में डाल
तेरे अब्बा ने डाला था क्या पिछवाड़े में? क्या रे फाड़ू?
बदीर के पिछवाड़े में डालना है क्या?
मेरे पिछवाड़े में डाल दो, अम्मा के पास नहीं।
ये अम्मा पे
अम्मा पे रे मैं क्या बोला? पिछवाड़े में कहीं को डाल, उल्टा क्यों बोल रहा है? उसको अच्छा बात बोल रहा है ना बड़े।
बधीर अपना दोस्त है भाई।
अभी देख बड़वा बोला वो मेरे को, अब मैं उसको गाली दूंगा तो गाली देना मैंने छोड़ दिया है।
गाली देना पाप है रे। खड़ा हो ऊपर, खड़ा हो ना, इधर आगे जाता
वेट मामा गो हाई कवर गो go. Very far. चल भी चल 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 जाओ जो इनकी मारती थी भाई
बंदा कर प्लांट
शॉट शॉट तीनों तीनों तीन है
बट्टा शॉट
नहीं
अरे हाँ शॉट में हो देख रहा हूँ मिड देख अरे लौड़े डिफ्यूज कर रहा है छूतिए छूत पिक कर रहे हैं लौड़े को लाइक ही नहीं है ब्लैक पैंथर तेरी खेलेगी
पीछे आगे तो देखो
अरे लौड़े है छोटे में क्या देखेंगे लौड़ा देखेंगे मेरा निकालो रे बड़े को
मैं तो फोन है
फोन करो रे प्लांट प्लांट तेरे मादर छोट
यार सोल इतना गांड फटी में कैसे रह जा रहे हैं
सोल नहीं हुआ है सोल भाई मैं
भाई एफ के मतलब भाई ये
साइड किया थे बॉम्बर क्या कहता है भोसड़ी के मिड में
So lost there.
I give you flash, bro.
भाई भाई भाई
उड़ के गिरा रे मैं
मेरे को क्या गजब का शॉट दिया था बैंजत फर्स्ट
क्या बोलता फाड़ू आज कितना पिया
क्या
बोलता आज कितना कस्टमर किया
आज एक भी नहीं भाई आज दो
अरे बोल रहा हूँ आज कितना पिया
वही पीने की बात कर रहा हूँ प्रिंस साले
मेरे को लगा कितना
तू गंजेड़ी है भोसड़ी के है तू गंजेड़ी है मादरचोद मादरचोद प्रोटॉन जरा इलेक्ट्रॉन के पास चले जा यार फाड़ू लौड़ा है क्या? Bro, come from long, bro. Hey, Chutia team, लौड़े, भैंचोद, Black Panther काय?
3B.
निकाल रहे भैंचोद काय को? वाह भैंचोद, आई जौली. हो जाता डिफ्यूज भैंचोद, हो जाता डिफ्यूज, हो जाता चुतिया फाड़ू, फाड़ू जानबूझ के हरवाया. Save for next game. पाडू सेव करता है क्या?
फाइनली अपने टीम में आ गया भाई.
क्या बोलता फाड़ू? अरे फाड़ू सेवक के साथ लफड़ा हो गया वापस.
क्या ब्रो?
सेवक के साथ लफड़ा हो गया सबका.
किसका?
सबका. चुतिया है, येड़ा हो गया है वो. अब मैड हो गया, मैड साइको हो गया वो.
साइको हो गया
नो.
क्या हुआ, मतलब ठीक है वो?
नहीं नहीं, उसका हिल गया ऊपर का जरा.
पागल होगा तो नहीं हो गया ना?
वही तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ, मैड हो गया वो, साइको हो गया.
मैं कॉल करता हूँ.
ये तो चिंकी सर हो गया. टीम मर गई वापस.
अरे मंडी भाई क्या हाल है?
हाँ भाई सब बढ़िया।
हाँ बढ़िया बढ़िया। क्या हाल है क्या हाल है?
बस भाई आज फ्राइडे है, मजे करो।
आइए।
और दिन के बाद चलिए।
और मंडी भाई माइक तो खोलो यार।
चल बड़ी तेरे पीछे निकल लेके छोटा।
आवाज नहीं आ रही है तुम्हारी।
मां की चूत बॉम्ब फेंक रहा है। सही है, तो मेरे सामने ही खड़े हो जाओ।
मदरचोद।
अब जीतेंगे भाई हम। हो गया, तुम लोग बहुत जीत लिए।
बी चलो बी 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 बी।
बॉम्ब पे क्या रहा हूँ, ऊपर से फ्लैश भी दे रहा हूँ और डोर स्मोक भी करता हूँ। जा भाई, यही टाइम है, सब जाओ। भाई सब बीच में बस है।
तो आराम से
भाई आगे जाओ भाई, डर लग रहा है। भागता था। हमारी टीम को कोई कोल्ड ड्रिंक पिला भाई। हमारी टीम कोल्ड ड्रिंक और चिप्स मांग रही है।
बीब जाओ रे बड़वो तुम्हारी के लोग।
जीतेंगे जीतेंगे।
अरे क्या मेरा लौड़ा जीतेंगे?
पता ही नहीं है।
निकाल रहे हैं चूते को, निकाल रहे हैं गेमर। करो रे, डाल दो डाल दो डाल दो, F1 डाल दो। ओए F1 करो भाई।
हमारी टीम में ओपनिंग हो गई है। भिजवाना है?
आराम से खेलो रे।
ए होल्ड करो, पुश मत करो, चलो मत आगे जाओ, मत आगे जाओ।
सब झुंड में जाते रे, सब झुंड में जाते हैं।
मारो पहले। हाँ बैठो बैठो, अरे फिर चला गया। वेरी गुड।
आएगा मारना।
नाइस स्मोक गाइस, नाइस स्मोक।
मत भाई, पिक्सल मत भाई।
नाइस
मत
प्लांट।
बोल रहा तो
प्लांट है, सेफ प्लांट है, आराम से साइड पे खेलो सब। लॉन्ग केयर करना।
हाँ शॉट होल्ड कर रहा हूँ मैं।
अरे लॉन्ग मर गया, लॉन्ग देख जाके, जल्दी जा, जल्दी जा।
वाह बंचो, कितनों को मारूं भाई। अरे फाड़ू छूती है क्या रे?
बीच में क्या कर रहा है? व्हाट द हेल।
लौड़ू है बेटा।
ऐसे नहीं चलेगा भाई, ऐसे कैसे चलेगा?
अरे ये लौड़े।
अबे क्या बे?
कोई बात
क्या
नहीं,
क्या
कोई बात
लौड़ा
नहीं।
ले मेरा।
फ्राइडे है गाड़ी देने का।
तेरी राह में
दे लो कैसे?
इसका क्रॉसहेयर क्यों हिल रहा है? आप क्या चीज बोल रहे हो? खेलना पड़ेगा। ये क्या फ्लैश है? भाई पागल हो गए क्या? लॉन्ग पे कोई आ रहा है?
एक्चुअली मैं फाड़ू को फ्लैश करने जा रहा था।
मिड देखो भाई, मिड होल्ड कर बहुत टाइम। शॉट आ गया फटाफट। Nice shot. लॉन्ग है। शॉट देख भाई, शॉट देख। ये लास्ट मिनट में। नाइस। शॉट नहीं, होल्ड ही कर लो भाई। आगे मत जाओ। नाइस
शॉट है क्या? डोर है क्या? उल्टी Area lagi dia.
Wow. Oh. करे क्या? क्या जीता है भाई? मजा आ गया। Yes. क्या बात है भाई? मजा आ गया।
Objective Baker. Defend the objective. Prepare for an assault. Fortify your position.
Micah!
Front. Left, bro. Fuck you.
Sector is under our control. Push the attack into the next sector.
कुछ होता है कर
はしない。手榴弾なししよう。
着弾に備えろ。
してやる。
God. Hey Zoli, GG.
What is up, guys? It's your boy Straight Up.
Also, how do we bring them together in a way that's really cohesive, so it doesn't just feel like, oh, well, they took this bit of Underground or this bit of Most Wanted, but now it doesn't feel like a package.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And this is the last question from Vertical. His question is, what is your personal single favourite new addition into the game?
Oh man. Okay. I think it's probably engine swaps and exhaust tuning, but engine swaps in general.
Engine swaps is a bit of a fan favourite.
Yeah. And it's sort of been a little bit of an under the radar feature. Like a few people have been working to get that in and make that doable. And I think it's just so cool for me, like just to be able to pick up any car and figure out how to get a totally different engine into it, and it sounds like the car that came from, or kind of a blend of the two. I think that's just totally part of my fantasy of building up an awesome street racing car, right?
On that note, because we haven't actually heard much about engine swaps specifically, this is kind of more of my question.
Okay.
So, if I had a Golf, would it be possible then to just put like
particular or 2015 in particular, but yeah, I guess the you know.
Mephisto's vile corruption is spreading across the land.
Yeah, come on.
Easy. नहीं है कोई बात नहीं और है यार Yo, that's how we do.
Decathlon, 60 plus sport.
All those tablets around the world that are in these museums that all have such similar stories of these two gods who were here and they created demigods that were supposed to terraform the earth is what they were doing, and then they got fed up, they got overworked, and they went on strike, so they created humans.
Yes, that's it. That's it. Now it's a little bit deeper than that. Obviously that's very surface, but that's true.
So when did this, according to these tablets, when did this start?
Yeah.
नहीं टेंशन मत लीजिए क्योंकि फ्लिपकार्ट मिनट पे इनकी ड्रेस जिसके बज गए 12 इनकी लिपस्टिक इन शेड 9211 इनके बालों
It started around 450,000 years ago, the breakaway civilization.
450,000 years ago.
That's when they arrived on this planet. They came here about 450,000 years ago. At the time that they arrived, Alalu, who made it through the hammered bracelet, which is the asteroid belt. At that time, the asteroid belt was still very chaotic because the asteroid belt is an exploded planet. An exploded planet that used to have the name of Tiamat. Before Earth even existed, you had Mercury, Venus, which was in the position we're in now, and then you had Tiamat. Earth wasn't here yet. Tiamat had 2 moons. It probably had more than that, but the 2 we know of is the moon we have now and Mars. Mars can be backtracked. Even modern mainstream astrophysicists agree that Mars was probably a moonlet that orbited a much larger planet based on the weird elliptical orbit that it has. Really? Yeah. So what happened was you have our moon and you have Mars, a habitable moon, orbiting Tiamat. Tiamat in the Enuma Elish, the seven tablets of creation, literally gets impacted by another object that was orbiting another star. So our solar system had gravitationally attracted a rogue solar system, so to speak, and it was a collision that happened which made Tiamat explode. When Tiamat exploded, now here's something interesting before I go that far. In the text, it says that Tiamat's glory rivaled the sun. It was a water-bearing planet with land and life. Now, who wrote that? How did they know that this planet had land and life, and that it rivaled the sun's glory? That in other words, when the sun shined on it, it beamed back because it had so much water, and it was so massive. It was 6 times larger than Earth. Somebody had a view of this planet from somewhere in the solar system. But anyway, so it exploded. A huge chunk swung away with all that land and organic material and recoalesced as the Earth. The moon then was put into place to balance the wobble. Right. Mars grabbed its own crazy elliptical orbit around the sun. That's why we can only rendezvous with Mars when it's in, I think it's in perigee every 2 years.
Right.
Because of its weird distances that it that it has with orientation to Earth.
Right.
And so Earth has weird anomalies inside of it that go back hundreds of millions of years. And people are like, how did this hammer, this 200 million year old hammer, because they can tell by the depth in these mines, how did this pottery get down here, 300 million year old piece of pottery? It's not from Earth. It's when Earth was part of Tiamat. You're looking at a relic from a whole other civilization when we were part of another planet. Nobody's talking about this. That's the next thing that I'm going to be talking about in my next book. We're talking about Earth.
They found artifacts that...
Oh, yeah. We've got artifacts that date back 300, 400, 500 million years.
Like which artifacts specifically?
There's vases, there's hammers, or things that look like hammers, or tools that have been discovered deep in these mine shafts. And you can tell the years by the depth of the mine.
In your book, you mentioned that some of these Ajiji were working for like 3,600 years to terraform the Earth or something like that. So, so getting back to, we kind of got a little bit off track, but you were talking about the origin of the Anunnaki was 4,500 years ago.
450,000.
450,000 years ago. And they came from somewhere else, right? That's the meaning. Anunnaki means not from Earth, right? So they came after there was a bigger planet that was 6 times the size of Earth. It somehow smashed into something and created the Earth.
Right.
So after that, why did they come here, and how did the tablets say exactly why they came here?
If you notice in our book, The Epic of Humanity, there's the most tablets ever referenced in any one book in history, first of all. This book has more references to more tablets and excerpts from those tablets. And the reason why, we're painting a picture that all these places from around the world and all these tablets and scriptures and papyruses and cylinder scrolls are all connected to one race of people that came from the Pleiadian star system. And they hail from the Pleiades. In my new TV series called Anunnaki Ancient Secrets Revealed, which is coming out very soon in Regal Cinemas, and then it'll be on Forbidden TV, you'll find out that there was a galactic war in that sector of the galaxy. And this war was so crazy, they were using something called a Brahmahanda weapon, which can destroy any man on 3 worlds. We're talking about a real Death Star that existed in ancient times.
On the outlook for your next rental home, seal the deal with nobroker.com. With 70,000 plus houses rented out monthly on zero brokerage and with a dedicated relationship manager for end-to-end.
This weapon, once it was released, you couldn't withdraw it. You couldn't bring it back. There was no way to cancel it. And you can operate it from something called a Tablet of Destiny. And whoever had their hands on these tablets of destiny had control of the galaxy, and they were stolen a couple of times. So power had been jumping back and forth. Imagine if we're here on this Earth and somebody blows up Saturn. We want to get off Earth because big chunks are coming our way. So there were something called space refugees, my personal opinion. This is not in any text. This is my opinion now. These people fled. This is how we got the Orion, Aldebaran, Zeta Reticulus, the Dog Star. All these other places began to get inhabited. Earth was another targeted location as a breakaway civilization. Some of these beings, according to the Enuma Elish, landed on a planet orbiting a brown dwarf called Nibiru. And some people say, oh, Nibiru was never in any ancient text. Yeah, look at the oldest version of the Enuma Elish. It says Nibiru and it says Anunnaki. The oldest version Much later, in a newer version, which a few thousand years later, another copy was made by Amun-Ra. He changed Nibiru's name to Marduk because he wanted to be the destroyer. But anyway, that's another story. But the point is, these people decided, look, we're looking for breakaway civilizations. Us on Earth right now, human beings, if we just think that we're going to stay here on this planet forever, we're fooling ourselves. We need to also look for breakaway civilization. We got to create a breakaway civilization for ourselves. Our sun is already middle age. It's going to die in 5 billion years, which seems like a long time, but that's a blink of an eye on geological timescales.
Right.
Earth is going to get swallowed up as it turns into a red giant because we don't have a massive sun that can create our sun will expand into a red giant. We don't have enough mass for it to turn into a supernova. So it'll expand into a red giant, then it'll shrink down and collapse into a white dwarf. But it's going to incinerate Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. Gone. Incinerated, right?
Right. So
we need to start thinking if we want the humanity to progress. Not only that, we've only been here on this planet, as a human being and Homo sapiens for 200,000 years at this level. A blink of an eye, less than a blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm.
In any geological time, at any time, any geological disaster can happen here, and that could collapse our entire civilization. Even if just one solar flare can turn us off and we'll be done. So we have to find a way to get off planet, which is why there's this big push for Mars. It's about creating a breakaway civilization, learning how to do it right, making mistakes along the way and learning from those, and then branching out even further into space. That's the plan. And so these beings came here because they're like, look, we got to find a breakaway civilization. They were scanning Earth, and they discovered from the scattered light that, like the same way we scan for elements, they discovered there was gold and other resources on the planet coming just from looking at the light of the planet. Same way we do now in astrophysics. So they said, this is a great place. So one guy risked his life to get through the hammered bracelet and made it through. Then he radioed back to Nibiru and said, hey, I found everything we need right here. And then they started sending people down a little bit at a time, and they started building. And when they got here, Enlil, on a crystal tablet he showed to his sister, it says, Ninmah, he showed her the building construction technique that's going to be on this planet, he said, for all time. He already had it laid out, how he was going to build the cities, how he was going to build the plumbing, everything, the way the city grid was going to be laid out. It was all on this crystal tablet. Now, what kind of tablet is a crystal tablet?
Right.
Sounds like an iPad or something.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Who sits around writing sci-fi stories 6,000 years ago? So somebody wrote this because they were told to, and I believe that what they wrote was exactly what possibly happened. I think we're getting as close to the truth as we can possibly get. Now, when they began doing all this building and all this work, we were already here. We meaning our cousins, human beings' cousins, not Homo sapiens sapien, but the prior version of us was already here. Now, this prior version of us, in my opinion, was probably more advanced spiritually. I think that we had bigger bones, bigger skulls, bigger brains. I think our skulls have been found all over. I think they've been misunderstood in some cases, maybe even for aliens in some cases. But that they had probably bigger pineal glands, probably could communicate silently, not technologically more advanced, but just more in tune with nature. A lot of abilities that we should have, like understanding how to feel the magnetic field and sense the magnetic field and navigate through that magnetic field like animals, we've lost that ability, but we know in a laboratory setting we still have it because the crystals in our brain orient to the magnet.
Yeah.
So we still have it. We're not in touch with it anymore. But what happened was
That's funny. I have a friend who moved to the Amazon, and he said as soon as he moved to the Amazon and got disconnected from civilization and from technology, he said all these crazy instincts just came back into him.
Yes, I believe that because he needed time to be away from all of that,
right,
and just let your body recoalesce into what it truly is. This is the most powerful, machine that probably exists in this sector of the universe, and so. What they said was, okay, well, these people are here, but we're not going to mess with them. We're just going to continue to build what we're doing. And the Ijiji built and worked for about 200,000 years.
And we were already here?
We were already here in small pockets around the planet.
Okay.
And just indigenous peoples, just living our lives as, cave people and things like that. Nothing advanced. And then they probably saw us just as animals, you know. And then the Gigi got pissed off, as you know, in the Antra Hasis and also in the Enuma Elish. 2 different stories, 2 different time periods, same story.
Now, okay, so can you explain exactly what the Ijiji were supposed to be? Were they part of the Anunnaki? Did they come here with the Anunnaki?
They came with the Anunnaki. Okay. They were the workers. They were, in other words, if I'm going to go out and buy a huge plot of land and say I'm going to build a city here, I probably call somebody like Chris Dunn, say, hey man, I need an engineer, right? This guy, I know, but engineer is going to say, well, I need brick masons and stone masons, and they're stone masons, I need electricians. So these were the people that knew how to do the grunt work. They knew how to build the structures based on the instructions or the blueprints. Right. So these are the people. They were builders, and they were Anunnaki. Now, Anunnaki doesn't mean they're all one particular race of people. It means they were people who came from heaven to earth. Anybody from space that comes to earth is an Anunnaki. The civilization they built is the Atlantean. But even in the tablets, it talks about some of these people coming from different planets or stars, which means that they probably most likely were a mixed race of people. And I have evidence to prove this, and I'll tell you in a minute. So they got pissed off. They decided, look, we're working too hard. You guys are treating us almost like slaves now. We want to get a break. We want some relief from this work. And even that, not only that, we want women. They were pissed off that they didn't have any women.
Really?
So this is where the sons of God fell from heaven. They came from Mars down to earth in Genesis, and they took women with them back. But in the Sumerian tablet, you get the full story where they go to Adam's calendar in South Africa. They encircle the camp of the god, which is Anu, the head.
चलो आइयो मिलता है कल बाय बाय